music is a very powerful tool, and I am confident that we can view music as a psychedelic, as an agent that can reveal deeper parts of our being, deeper parts of ourselves, and thereby can facilitate experiences that are meaningful and potentially life-changing.
Hey everyone, Mendel Kaelen is the founder of Wavepaths. It's a company that has created musical tools to help therapists guide psychedelic experiences. I did a series of interviews with psychedelic researchers for the Open Foundation. It's a foundation from the Netherlands that I've helped out since a few years now. And they're the organizer of ICPR, the leading psychedelic science conference in Europe. And you can now get live stream tickets to their 2022 edition. And a special discount code for this is located in the description. So be sure to check that out. Also be sure to check out the live webinar that I'll be doing with the Open Foundation, where we will talk about the future of legal psychedelics. And now to my conversation with Mendel. Hey, Mendel, I'm just going to start right off the bat. What have you been recently working on?
Well, recently, I've been really spending all of my time on Wavepaths, which I've been working on for a bit more than 2 years now, since I left my academic time at Imperial College London, where I studied music and psychedelics, music and psychedelic therapy. And all of my time since then has been focused on Wavepaths. But most recently in Wavepaths, I think one of the most exciting things to share is that we have developed a feature that enables the use of Wavepaths for psilocybin and MDMA. And we're going to release it in that order. The psilocybin release will be right before the ICPR conference, and the MDMA release will be a few weeks later.
How can you make such specific content for such specific drugs?
So we work with a number of insights in mind. Right? At the essence of our work is the model that we have developed, which we refer to as a person-centered model of using music in psychedelic therapy. And inside of that model, there are actually a few variables. The medicine is one of them. So adaptation to the medicine is one of those variables. But in addition to that, we have the adaptation to the traits of the individual, the personality traits of an individual. And then last but not least, adaptation to the process or the dynamic experience that the individual has. All these three variables are taken into account when music is selected for the patient experience. When it comes to the drug specifically, we are studying, we are comparing sound perception and music perception under ketamine, psilocybin, and MDMA, both subjective experiences as well as biometric data. And then we are informing the music composition. We work with more than 35 human composers at this moment. And we also are informing the algorithm we have developed that basically determines the way music is filtered for a particular session, a particular medicine, and a particular individual.
And how can you, I have a lot of questions about music. maybe the first one is, what is it about music that can steer your emotions so vividly and extremely?
Well, that's a massive question, and it's a really interesting question. It's a question where books can be written about, because there's so many different angles to this response.
Please give me the short answer.
Yeah, I will do my best. It's hard though. So in summary, I would say the main reason, right, to your question, why we have these very powerful responses to music, these powerful emotional responses to music, is first of all, evolutionary. Are the way that language developed, the way we communicate developed, is in essence musical and has most likely very strong musical roots. Evolutionary psychologists talk about a proto-language, a language that evolved the language that we currently use from day to day. And there is a lot of evidence historically that most likely there was a proto-language that preceded our current language that was much more musical. And I can give many examples and give many kind of research references, but for the sake of this answer, I keep it short and sweet. Most likely, a long time ago, we were communicating much more non-verbally with the musical features in our sound. That's one.
You can have sounds of discontent. I mean, you can have sounds of approval and sounds of discontent.
Exactly, and if you think about all the primal emotions that we have, disgust, you immediately imagine a sound with that surprise, right? Feeling sad, disappointed, angry, the sound becomes more dissonant. Right? We still do this, right? We still have musical features in the way we communicate. In fact, the way you and I are currently talking, we use rhythm, we use melodic intonation, we use changes in tone color. There's all of these elements that also are part of music, that make music that we still use in our verbal communication, but not to communicate linguistic concepts and symbols, but emotionality. And this is the core of what musicality is doing. It's conveying subjective experiences. So we see remnants of this in the way we communicate. We also see remnants of this in our ontology, in our human development. Infants, before they are born, as soon as they are equipped with hearing, they are already able to differentiate different melodic structures, the really subtle differences in tone color. And before we learn to speak, we already are innately equipped to respond to the musical features around us, the musical features in the way we communicate. And this is one of the reasons, most likely, why cultures around the world, any culture that has been studied is doing this. When you engage with an infant, a young child, we are starting to exaggerate the way we use melody in our voice, because that's the way we can grab attention of an infant. Lullabies, every single culture studied, mothers, fathers are singing lullabies as well to babies. And there's lots of research that also showed that infants have very exceptionally well-developed musical skills.
Animals seem to respond to music just as much, almost.
Yeah.
Just as much, or at least they're, you've seen the internet, and then maybe you've played music for your cats or dogs.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's a whole field of research in itself that looks at musicality in animal communication, and of course there are musical features as well in animal communication as well. The way animals communicate with each other.
We are animals. I mean, it's a side note. It seems that music seems to be part of that. So bridging it seems to be that music is part of being almost. It's part of everyday experience.
Yeah. So to your point about we are animals. Yes, we are animals, and one of the different things that sets us apart from the animal kingdom is our exceptional tool building capacities. And music, there's many different definitions of music, and none of them are exclusive of each other. I always like to say that they're inclusive of each other. But one definition of music is really viewing music as an invention. Talking about music, the creation of music, more than the sake of the communication of primary emotions, attracting sexual partners, and you name it. Aesthetic purposes, right, of art.
A technology almost.
I really think that music is a technology that we invented, and I would even dare to say it's a transformative technology that we invented. What I mean with a transformative technology is it's a technology that has changed our culture and has changed our own biology. Right? Other examples of transformative technologies are the invention of fire. It's a massive leap in human evolution and history. Another example is the internet. Totally changed our culture, the way to connect with each other, the way to connect with ourselves, and our own biology, I dare to say as well.
Yeah, definitely. And so when it comes to the psychedelic experience, I assume, but maybe you can explain this, you dissected music into its core principles so that you can steer this psychedelic experience? Or how did that go?
Yeah, I would say we are studying the different therapeutic functions of music. So what is it that music is doing therapeutically in a psychedelic therapy session and also outside of a psychedelic therapy session? And then how can we create music for these functions that really deeply resonate for each individual? So what is music that makes people feel calm and reassured? What is music that helps the individual to deepen and express certain feeling states more profoundly? What is music that helps the individual have a sense of structure and continuity in the experience, and so forth and so on? In our system, we primarily work with the concept of attunement, emotional attunement, in the same way that mothers, we just mentioned as a nice example, care providers, caregivers, parents, instinctively attune themselves to their children. And they use that with the voice as well. Daniel Stern, a famous psychologist, wrote very lengthily about this idea of emotional attunement and how we all instinctively do that with musical features in our voice, musical compositional features in our facial expressions, you name it. So attunement means attuning, mirroring, matching the present experience of the listener, meeting the individual where he or she is. This is one of the core findings of both the work I did at Imperial College London, where we worked with psilocybin, as well as the work that we're doing, the research we're doing with Wavepaths, where we have replicated this finding over and over again. And that is that the degree to which the music personally resonates is one of the strongest predictors for positive therapy outcomes, whereas the mere drug intensity is not. Now, what makes music personally resonate? This is the next step. Is music that is attuned to the individual's experience. What happens in that process of attunement can be primarily understood as an experience of feeling acknowledged and heard. As a care seeker, as a client in therapy, really having a strong sense of being met where I am. There's no need for me to be different. There's no need for me to feel different than what I feel in this moment. And the music is matching what's going on at this moment. That's the starting point. So having a system at hand, a method at hand that simplifies that is what we have primarily built. Now we also have built, therefore, a system that is adaptive. So we don't work with fixed compositions. We work with, to your point, building blocks of what can become a composition. So all of these musicians we are working with, they deliver building blocks according to different briefs, different descriptions for different therapeutic functions and other things. And then within our system, we can then algorithmically combine these different sample packages, let's say, into a composition in real time. And that allows us to give the therapist, the care provider, really accurate control over the emotional qualities, the emotional intensity, the therapeutic functions, the type of instrumentation being used, you name it, without needing to change the track. Right? Stop the music and play another track. In fact, everything can happen very smoothly and dynamically within one musical experience.
And then you can, I mean, there are also musical packages available for psychedelic experiences that are not personalized, right? Still, I felt I experienced one of these musical journeys recently, and how during a psychedelic trip, and I was very surprised by how comforting, steering, but it steered me, but in a very comfortable way. So it sort of like modulated my mood in a very safe, comforting. I can't find another word. It was very safe, so to speak. And so you're saying that there are that Wavepaths, you have controls where you can sort of, based on the conversation, based on where you are in a certain therapy, you can go into a certain direction.
Yeah, and exactly. And you also formulated what we refer to as really one of the core functions of music. If I would describe it in one word, it is providing direction. It's steering the experience into a particular direction. Music is there because it influences the experience. Otherwise, you shouldn't play music to begin with. Music influences and thereby has the capacity to change the experience. So that's the responsibility that the care provider really needs to embody. Is who am I as a care provider to decide what the listener should experience, right? That's a very complicated topic, but it's a very important one to have. But then to your point about safety, the question is also for the care provider always, what's the right time, the right moment, and if there is even the right moment to provide an experience that does not feel safe. Because any growth, let me actually not make this too black and white. Most experience of growth have some degree of stepping into an unknown part of oneself. And with that comes anxiety. With that comes fear. With that comes a fear for the unknown, and an experience that feels unsafe. So I would definitely not say that music selection for psychedelic therapy is all about creating a safe experience, because in fact, the opposite is needed. But as long as that's happening with agency and with the individual that has the experience, having a way of relating with the experience, with support from trained therapists, for example, then that would be a context where the individual can learn new things about oneself in a constructive way, without feeling totally overwhelmed and intruded and you name it.
Yeah. About Wavepaths, what do you, where do you see Wavepaths going? Is it going to be geared more towards psychedelic therapy and for therapists, or is there, what are you doing for the public?
Yeah, so last year we launched primarily to ketamine, and we are supporting more than 300 clinics right now, ketamine clinics primarily in the US, Canada, and Europe, but quite a few other continents as well. And now we are expanding to also support psilocybin and MDMA. But yes, Wavepaths has always been founded with the core insight that it's not the psychedelic drug necessarily that is facilitating these important changes. It's the degree to which experiences in any form of therapy are personally significant. That is what I am most excited about in terms of what psychedelic therapy research has to offer. Is it's hinting at a new paradigm of understanding how we first of all define mental health, and then how we provide support and change for those that seek change in their mental health. And I would even dare to say quite boldly that the most effective way to facilitate change is by providing an experience, not an idea, not a conversation, but a directly felt, fully embodied experience. Now, therefore, what are the tools, right, as a therapist to have at hand to facilitate certain experiences? And as we just discussed pretty briefly, music is a very powerful tool. And I am confident that we can view music as a psychedelic, as an agent that can reveal deeper parts of our being, deeper parts of ourselves, and thereby can facilitate experiences that are meaningful and potentially life-changing. And I'm talking about music in itself. So what we're seeing already right now in our community is we have about 20 psychotherapists right now organically that joined our platform that are doing psychotherapy without psychedelic drugs, but they're using Wavepaths as an adjunct from time to time to deepen a particular experience, to help the client go more inside with an eye mask, with music, and allow certain experiences, memories, associations to come more fully into expression. So this is really what I see as the next step. We first of all keep supporting the growing need for not only music, but also a framework in which music can be adapted to individuals and to groups, by the way. But then also as a next step, we see ourselves supporting more and more non-psychedelic drug use cases, starting with psychotherapists that are having an experience-based method in their practice.
Awesome, amazing, Mendel. And are you looking forward to ICPR?
Yes, very much so.
What do you hope to see? What do you hope to see there, and how have the past experiences been?
Honestly, I think the most what I'm mostly looking forward to is just seeing a lot of colleagues and friends that I haven't connected with for a long time in the psychedelic community, and be surprised by all the research that has happened over the last time.
It really blew up since past editions, I would say, especially
not anymore that well as I used to.
I'm sorry?
I can't track it anymore as well as I used to a number of years ago.
It's sort of insane how if compared to the 2016 version, how dare to say niche it was.
Yeah.
Now one Netflix series after the other, so yes. it's very interesting. Yeah, it's a totally different world. Yes. Thanks, Mendel.
Drugs steal away so much.
Work to end the drug war.
It's one hell of a show.